all dried skin and you know what I mean, and fat and shit. I didn't get a chance to shave. Real quick, man. I'm not making this video long. I'm really pissed off. Uh, well, I'm not really pissed off. I'm really happy that they fired the Eagles' offense coordinator. I'm glad they did that. But it's a long off season. I'm really pissed off at the way the league is right now because, like, at least about 100 years ago, about like at least about the 1920s, when before the NFL, you know, went to the AFL, NFL, it used to be called uh, um, Universal. I forgot. It was like UFSL, UFFL. That's what it used to be called. Um, United Football League. I'm hoping I got it right, but you know what I mean, the thing is, right? In the 1920s, gambling was huge in football, in sports. Period. But it was illegal. But in the sense of how many members that owned football teams back then, they had the Canton Bears, the Arkin Pros, they had the Philadelphia Eagles, they had the Redskins, they had they had the Chicago Cardinals, they had the New York Titans. They had all the teams, but they didn't have all the teams of what they had today. I mean, they had the Green Bay Packers and everything. So, but back when the 1933 hit, they took betting out of the NFL because they thought that people were actually losing money, and people were cheating the betting systems, like going to casinos, cheating, and the mob used to cheat too by going to like certain teams and tell them they got to get this amount of points or they got to shave this amount of points in order to meet the spread and all this other kind of stuff, or meet the spread. And so the NFL's like, no, we can't do this no more. And also, an NFL owner died. Well, it's suspicious that he died over owing money to the mob for betting games. Betting against his team against other teams. Just how Rose did when he was on the Reds. He was betting his team against other teams. See, the thing is now the NFL brought gambling back, and this is what hurts me about NFL. They could have kept the game the same way. This is the reason why they put so many new rules into the league. They don't want to get offensive players hurt because the game of football nowadays is predicated for the offense and the defense. And now you see the defense is not allowed to do a lot of things like they did in the past. The defense was all dominated by the defense. My fault. Football was all dominated by the defense. And the offense, they had to put points on the board. They were quarterback was getting smashed up, running backs getting smashed up, receivers getting smashed up. There were no rules for illegal hit. But they started changing the rules. Night Train Lane and Jack Tatum and the Raiders and many other teams. They started changing rules because of the violence of the game. So they had to try to keep the receivers on the field and keep the quarterbacks on the field. And also, when the Eagles knocked out all the quarterbacks, like the Redskins, they changed the rules that you couldn't, they were just changing rules for, roughing the passer and, illegal hit on on the quarterback. But see, the rules really changed is when Brady tore his knee against Kansas City, and they changed the rules big time then, like real big time. And Brady doesn't know that. I know Brady probably knows that they changed the rule because he don't like the fact that they changed the rule because of him. Because he wished football was still. He said he wished he would have played in the past in the '90s. He said football would have probably been a lot more fun. He said football is kind of boring because when he played, it was so easy because the defenses really couldn't play. They couldn't touch the receivers 5 yards downfield. It was no Chuck rule like back when Mel Blunt used to just for the Pittsburgh Steelers used to just jam people all the way down the field and shit. Because they made a rule up for him because he used to chuck people all the way down the field. It's called a Chuck rule. You can't chuck nobody down the field. So, and you can't put your hands on nobody's hips, or you can't turn a receiver. The cornerback has to his head facing towards the ball and shit like that. That's all it should be for defensive backs. Then they wanted to go after the defensive line. You know what I mean? So they start putting rules on the line because a lot of people don't know that they don't call that many holds on the defensive lineman because honestly, the defensive line actually keeps linebackers clean by holding, and now they're getting caught by it because the referees have to look at that as a reason to throw a flag. They took away clipping, they took away chop blocks, they took away things so they're trying to keep players healthy. I was like, how the hell now they're so worried about the players being healthy? About a couple of years ago, they said CTE didn't exist. Jerry Jones, all of them say they didn't exist. And then they started finding out about CTE. Then they say, oh, we got to start protecting the players. And I believe that they're starting to try to protect the players because of betting. Now, I know that betting is in the league because look at the kickers. People don't think kickers are very important, and punters. They are very important, especially when kickers need to kick extra points, man. Like the other day when Elliott missed the extra point and he acted like he didn't know what the fuck was going on. I know they told him he needs to miss that extra point. Because how did the Eagles tie a game and he missed the extra point? But he made like three other ones. He made two other ones. He made two extra points and two field goals. But so that don't mean nothing, right? The Eagles would have made that extra point. The game would have probably been a lot different. But the Eagles couldn't keep. Well, regardless of that, I don't want to talk about the Eagles, but I'm saying about the league is just. You can see the league is just terrible. You can see the league is falling apart. You can see it's all about money. You can see this younger generation don't know about the past football. So they're trying to keep younger generations learning about the past, even though the younger generations are actually watching football of the past because they want to see who's the most dominant player in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s up through the 50s and 60s. They want to see who's the most dominant players, like quarterbacks, defensive backs, wide receivers, offensive line, defensive line. They want to see. So they started to learn that, damn, football was different back then. There were no rules. There were no regulations. Like, you could hit the player. A receiver can go across the middle, get smacked, and it was nobody throwing a flag, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Or they're trying to make they're going to make a new rule up next year, because I know they are, for the tight end, because it's going to be for Hurts, Zach Hurts. When he got hit below the legs, he broke his leg. So they're going to have a rule next year that you can't hit players below their legs. So they're going to take that away from the defensive back. Because they're going against bigger receivers or bigger backs, they can't be able to go down and hit probably around their knees. So now the offensive players will have a lot more advantage. So they're taking a lot away from the defensive backs. Now, I know a lot of people that play defensive backs, and they really are pissed off about that they're taking that rule away for the defensive backs to actually be able to play, because you'll take it away from the safeties. You take it away because you really, honestly, I don't understand, because that's why they're trying to force players to play man and not play zone, because they're trying to get they're trying to get more tight ends in there, so a lot of teams can play nickel. You know what I mean? Or play dime, because they're trying to keep them out of playing zone coverages, because they believe that those are the most injuries are caused by zone coverages. Like, safeties can come up from a zone, smack the shit out of somebody because the ball's thrown in the middle of the field. And you see the way, I'm telling you, bring the Eagles one more time. You can see the way it was when Hurts threw the ball in the middle of the field, and you see Brown drop a pass. Now, everybody think that Brown dropped that pass because he felt a little pressure from the side of where the safety was. It was a bad pass. It was a good pass by Hurts. Yes, he could have caught that, but I really believe it was betting. I believe that Brown was told to drop the passes, because there's no way in the world that Brown dropped passes. No way in the world that Lamb dropped passes. Jefferson's been dropping passes. He really didn't get the ball this year. You know what I mean? There's a lot of receivers are starting to complain about, damn, I'm not getting the ball that much. There's a lot of receivers. A lot of these new receivers, like these young receivers, are getting a lot of catches. Like the boy that played for the Rams had over 23 catches this year. I forgot his name, the Hawaiian boy. He had 23 catches this year. Like, that's amazing, because you know why? Defensive backs can't hit. Defensive backs can't put their bodies on receivers no more. That's why a lot of kids today want to play receiver, because they're getting away from the defense, because I believe betting is really destroying the defense. Just like the NBA. They don't play no defense. They just shoot threes. And the younger generation think that's a cool thing to do, is shoot threes, play no defense. And, okay, we're going to rust on defense, and we're going to come back on offense and shoot a whole bunch of threes. And they think that high-scoring games are more important than low-scoring games, and keeping the game excited. Because back when I was growing up, anybody I know can tell you, back then when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, football, basketball was our thing. Even baseball was just the thing. Hockey was the thing, because we actually saw real players that didn't complain. They didn't complain about getting hit. They didn't complain about getting hurt. You know what I mean? They never missed games. They didn't do any of that shit. They didn't take time off. You know what I mean? And today, I believe that this betting thing is allowing these players to do a lot what they want to do. And the owners thinking, oh, we own this. We own the freaking stadium. I own the street. And you know what I mean? Nobody can tell me what to do. But I can always tell people this. One thing about the owners, got to understand, they don't own anything unless the motherfucking, and people that pay for the tickets pay the tickets. Because they're going to lose money if nobody's coming to the game. And, concession stands make a lot of money for the owner. So if you're losing money through concessions, you're going to go bankrupt. And that's why I believe the NFL is about to go bankrupt. because in 2020 they got a loan from um from the government, like a hundred, I think I forgot, it was a million something, $100 million loan or something like that, for each team to get a loan so they could stay open. They were still trying to, they wanted to know why football teams were still playing even though it was the pandemic. And a lot of players didn't play during the pandemic because, they were worried about getting COVID. But the thing about it is that they gave the NFL a whole bunch of money, because they didn't do that. Just like they gave money to all the businesses, like the big top businesses like Bezos and all of them. Bezos had to leave his position because of money. They gave big loans out. And I believe that betting is helping them pay them loans back. Because it's crazy how you got the best kicker in football. This boy, I'm trying to tell you something, right? There's a kicker, I forgot what he played for. He kicked a 68-yard field goal, right? This boy has a 20-yard field goal. He missed it. That motherfucker kicked the ball right to his right. Like, he just kicked it, like, and the ball went to his right. And I'm like, are you serious? These kickers actually kick the ball away from the goalpost. They are standing right in front of the goalpost, and they kick the ball away from the goalpost. It don't make no sense. And nobody believes that they're actually fucking trimming, they're shaving points. And the kicker is the most important, actually, to get the points. Because if you add the kicker's 3 points and 1 point, you're going to actually probably end up winning the game. If they don't score, you're going to actually lose the game. Like punters. Punters have to kick the ball to a point that they can get good for the other team can't get for good field position. Now you got punters kicking the ball off their back of the side of their foot, and I don't care about the win. I don't care about the win, because there's just a lot of punters out there that can kick in the win. They was like, oh, he's gonna have trouble with the win. No, they want them to have trouble with the win, because they're punting the ball straight up in the air and the ball is fluttering, and then the ball just goes out of bounds. And I'm like, come on, man, this is ridiculous. This never happened before, man. It's never happened. Probably in the mid 2000s, but you really see the best punters that were in the 90s, because you don't really see that. Even when it was like 20 degrees and winds gusted 100,000 miles an hour, punters still could kick in the wind. Like even in the 70s, when Ray Guy, former Raider, that motherfucker was kicking balls like 70,000 feet in the air and shit. Probably the greatest punter ever lived. You know what I mean? Was kicking the ball out the fucking stadium. And he never had a problem with the wind. Now you got today, these football players are having problems kicking field goals. Punters are having problems. Quarterbacks are getting hurt all the fucking time. They're actually saying that Mahomes might not have been hurt last year. This year. He probably really didn't get hurt. Now you're going to start seeing fake injuries now? Like, what is the NFL doing? They're trying to make this game like they're trying to make the NFL look like what's that show that used to come on TV on Channel 3 all the fucking time? General Hospital. They're trying to make it drama. They're trying to make it a drama. Like, I still can't forget when I was watching the game, and the game was supposed to come on at 4 o'clock, right? Playoff game with the Eagles against 49ers. Game was supposed to come on at 4 o'clock. The game didn't come on until 4:30. And what drove me crazy about that, I'm like, why are they showing McCaffrey, when the Eagles are playing at home? They're not going to talk to any of the Eagles? They didn't talk about any of the Eagles. They had like at least about almost a 25-minute conversation with McCaffrey. Don't get me wrong, I like McCaffrey. I want McCaffrey to be on the Eagles. He didn't get drafted because the Eagles couldn't draft him anyway, because he went ahead. He went ahead for the Eagles. The Panthers was ahead of us by up one for us before we got a chance to draft him. McCaffrey's a great player. But the thing about it is, right, how is it that they show McCaffrey, and McCaffrey wins the game with the catch, with the reverse, and they did the same thing Eagles did in the Super Bowl. The same thing they did in the Super Bowl. Well, the 49ers did the same thing in the Super Bowl too. But it seems like it was like a mock thing, right? But how did Hurts play real well in the first half, right? But next thing you know, that motherfucker could not throw the ball. He did this for the past 6 games. I remember he played against Buffalo, right? He only scored 13 points and he only threw for 13 yards in the second half. The Eagles averaged 9.5 yards a game. Points a game. 9.5 points a game. That's ridiculous. 9.5. Do they want the Eagles not to make the Super Bowl this year? They didn't like the fact that Barkley shocked everybody with the way he played last year. Now he's on a Madden cover for fucking some reason. I'm like, why do they keep on making these players go on a Madden cover, knowing the Madden cover is the motherfucking most devastating thing to be on, because everybody know that it has a curse. He's on a Madden cover. He gets hurt. He got hurt in the playoff game. He got hurt in the regular season. I think he was playing through injury. Bigsby didn't really get a chance until later down the line. And I like Bigsby. I think Bigsby is a great running back. Even though when he played for the Jacksonville Jaguars, he really did well. I would have kept Swift. I would have kept what's his name for that place for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know what I mean? I would have kept him. It's like crazy. The Eagles, It's like when you win a Super Bowl, like they did the Kansas City. I believe they take players away from them because they don't want them to keep on winning. They don't want them to catch up with New England. They don't want nobody to catch up to New England. And New England was at a perfect time because the divisions were just trash. Just look at the AFC East, man. The AFC East was the worst division ever. Tom Brady breezed through it like it was nothing. Like no team competed against them. The only team that probably really competed against them was probably Buffalo. And even Buffalo, even Buffalo even struggled. You know what I mean? Even though they did one time played New England in the playoffs and they lost, but in Miami was the only team that actually competed against New England really well. It actually competed against them, even though they were a bad team. But the NFL's rigged, dog. The NFL's rigged. Each team knows because even Adrian Foster, when he did an interview and was talking about how the league is rigged, he said one thing. He actually says that they actually practice, them going through their script for every game. And they gotta give it to the commissioner, and the commissioner will give it to the fucking referees. The referees will know when to blow whistles and when not to blow whistles. And the game has to be close. So the referee has to blow the whistle to keep the game close. They have to throw the penalty flag at a time that the game is getting out of hand for the team that's supposed to win is not winning. So they gotta blow that whistle. Because I believe some teams like, look, fuck this shit. I'm gonna win. Because you guys ever notice that coaches get fired near the end of the season before they're about to get fired because they know that the game is scripted. So say if a team want to get the first round draft pick and the owner like, listen, I want to get this first round draft pick, lose this game. They'll be like, fuck you, and they'll end up losing the game, and the owner gets fired, and the owner fires the coach because that's what it is. The league is so rigged. The league is so fucking worried about money. They don't worry about fans no more. I don't even know why we even pay to see games anymore, dog. We already know who's going to win the Super Bowl. And look at this. I believe Buffalo's going to be the next team to lose. Because you know why? They want these young quarterbacks like Knicks and what's the name for New England. They want these young quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl. They don't want the older quarterbacks to win. I know that Allen is a great fucking quarterback. He reminds me of a faster Roethlisberger. But the thing about it is that I believe that the league really wants these young quarterbacks to win because it's for this generation. It's not for our generation. It's even not for the millennials. They don't care. They want to see these young kids get excited because they want these young kids to come and play football. So even if the coach is like 9,000 years old, they don't give a fuck about the coach. They just care about the players because the players are young. They want these young players to win, just like you see last year in the NBA. They said it was no defense, right? So they wanted to get two defensive teams in the finals. That's what they did. You know what I mean? Oklahoma City won. They had a better defense. But the thing is, they wanted a defensive team in the fucking finals. Because they said, everybody kept on saying that the NBA don't play no defense. And they don't. Until this day, they still don't play no defense. We're not just talking about one individual team or two individual teams. We're talking about all the teams all throughout the NBA. Even back in the 90s, you even had the teams that were garbage that played defense. Teams that had players that led the league in rebounding, led the league in blocks, led the league in steals. But you have these players in this league, nobody leads the league in rebounding, nobody leads the league in blocks, nobody leads the league in anything except shooting threes. You know a funny stat about the NBA? Did you know that nobody has gone over 27 points a game? Nobody has gone over 27 points a game. Curry never went over 20 points a game, 27 points a game, even though he shoots threes. All-time leader shooting threes, right? And all-time leader in missing threes. LeBron, all-time leader in scoring. Did you know LeBron only averaged 27 points a game? And he played like 35,000 years in the NBA. But the thing is that LeBron James is having stats that are actually given to him, even though he didn't play games. They gave him as a gameplay stat because they want. Because LeBron said, since I can't get all these championships, I might as well let y'all might as well give me. You know what I mean? Like let me get the all-time leading scoring record, or let me get every single record. So I can have an argument of being the best player of all time. He's not the best player of all time. Michael Jordan is. Kobe Bryant right behind him. That's it. Even though I still got Wilt Chamberlain, I still got Bill Russell, I still got a lot of other players that are up there like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on them, but I still think Jordan, Kobe is still up there 1 and 2. LeBron James is not really in my top 10. I still say LeBron James has been given shit, and he never earned them. And yeah, he's a big fast player. That don't mean shit. But he had Dwayne Wade, third greatest two guard of all time. He had Kyrie Irving, probably one of the great point guard ball handlers of all time. Who else did he have? He had Love. Love was one of the great passers of all time. That motherfucker could pass a ball. you know what I mean, with two hands on top of his head, on one side of the court to the other. Then he even got him. He tried to get Love traded. Like like this is what you do as a player. You as Michael Jordan and the players that me and my homies watched back in the day, and we still talk about. We don't gloat over our players back in the past because we know how great they were. Even though we know that Michael Jordan is the GOAT, or some people say he's not. But people, we didn't have an argument like, oh, hey, well, Jordan's the GOAT. No, we didn't have no arguments like that. Because you know why? We already knew who was the best players in our league was. We had the Barkleys, we had the Rodmans, we had the Isaiah Thomases, we had the Larry Birds, we had the Magics. We had all these great players. See, the thing about it is, in the league today, it's all about betting. So you don't even know who's the great players anymore. I don't even think there's no such thing as a great player. Because in the league today, because betting is in the way. It's all about money. They putting these players on top of pedestals after a lot of players been missing shots. How you don't shoot jump shots? I don't get how you close to the rim you can't post. How do you come from high school, from a little league to high school, and you don't know how to post? You don't know how to grab a rebound. You don't know how to box out. I mean, you don't do a Rodman that dives all over the place to get a rebound. You know what I mean? Or do like how like Ben Wallace used to do, jump all over the place, get blocks like he blocked Shaquille O'Neal's dunk and shit with one hand. Nobody have ever done that. Right? With Shaq. Shaq doesn't even talk about it, though. He talk about he only got shot blocked 3 times. No, he did not. He got shot blocked by Michael Jordan. He got shot by Ben Wallace. He got shot blocked and Yao Ming. Yao Ming blocked his shot twice. So the thing is that the league today is not what it was in the past. And I believe betting really messed up the league. See, even though they're trying to hide betting, they're hiding it so they won't let people know that betting is really destroying the game. And that's what the league won't want to tell you because they're so afraid if people know betting is actually dominating the league. People don't want to watch basketball anymore because they think it's not authentic. Basketball and football is not authentic anymore. I don't even think hockey's authentic anymore. Baseball's starting to be authentic because they're going by these new computers and shit. The game is not played like even in the NFL. Now they got this new fucking AI motherfucker first down bullshit. Like where the fuck they get that from? It's like you can't keep the game like it used to be. Like football should be played like we play out in the fucking street. It should be helmet like the old days of high school. You put your helmet on, even though your helmet didn't fit you. You put your pads on, even though your pads didn't fit you, and your tights didn't fit you, but you went out there and played. Today it's not even like that. Football just shouldn't change. I'm getting off this thing, everybody. So please keep in contact with me. That's all I gotta say. Peace.